He walked into parent-teacher night holding his daughter's hand, and came face to face with the woman who broke his heart a decade ago. Daniel Mercer was already 5 minutes late, and the school parking lot was almost full. He pulled his pickup truck into the last available spot, cut the engine, and took a slow breath. Through the windshield, Maplewood Elementary looked warm and golden, every window lit up. Parents streaming through the front entrance in their business casual and coffee-stained blazers. A normal Tuesday night in small-town Ohio. Except nothing about tonight was going to be normal. He just didn't know that yet. "Daddy, we're late," said Lily from the back seat, her pink dress smooth and perfect, because she had insisted on picking it out herself that morning. "I know, bud." He stepped out and opened her door. She grabbed his hand the second her feet hit the pavement, something she had done automatically since she was 3 years old, since the night her mother packed 2 suitcases and told Daniel she needed to find herself somewhere that wasn't their living room. That was 4 years ago. Since then, it had been just the two of them, a single father with a mortgage, a part-time construction job, and a daughter who deserved every single good thing in the world. Daniel adjusted his navy blazer, the one he kept specifically for school events and the rare job interview, and walked toward the entrance of Maplewood Elementary. The hallway smelled like construction paper and hand sanitizer. Handmade posters lined the walls. Parents moved in polite, cautious clusters. Daniel followed the signs toward room 12, Lily's second-grade classroom, with his daughter's small hand tucked firmly in his. He almost didn't look through the window before pushing the door open. Almost. But he did look, and through that small rectangular pane of glass, he saw a woman standing at the front of the classroom, her back to the door, writing something neatly across the whiteboard. Blonde hair, shoulder length, a dark green dress that said she had come straight from somewhere important. His hand froze on the door handle. No, that's not possible. He pushed the door open anyway. She turned around. Claire Whitman, 10 years dissolved in an instant. She looked almost exactly the same, a little sharper around the edges, a little more polished. The kind of woman who had clearly spent a decade becoming exactly who she always said she would be. He had seen her name in a Forbes article once, folded open on a waiting room table at his mechanic's shop. Claire Whitman, CEO of Whitman Digital Solutions, one of the most powerful women in American tech under 40. He had stared at her photo for too long and then put the magazine back face down. Now she was standing in front of him in a second-grade classroom in Maplewood, Ohio, population 12,000. Her eyes met his, and for one long, suspended second, neither of them spoke. Then Lily pulled on his hand. "Daddy?" "And there's chairs over there." Claire blinked first. Something moved across her face in surprise, recognition, and something else he couldn't name. She looked down at Lily, and her expression shifted again. Softer, careful. "Daniel." Her voice was steady, professional. The CEO voice. He recognized it even though he had never heard it before. "Claire." His came out surprisingly calm. "Didn't realize you were back in Maplewood." "I'm not, officially." She glanced around the room. A few other parents had already noticed the charged air between them and were pretending they hadn't. "I'm doing community outreach. My company sponsors the tech program here. I volunteered to co-facilitate parent night with Mrs. Hoffman." She paused. "She's running late." "Right," Daniel nodded slowly. "That makes sense." It made absolutely no sense at all. He sat in the third row with Lily beside him, coloring quietly in a notebook she had brought from home. Claire moved through the room efficiently, introducing the digital literacy program, explaining goals and timelines, answering questions, with the kind of easy authority that came from years of running boardrooms. Daniel watched her and felt something he hadn't let himself feel in a very long time. He had loved Claire Whitman when he was 22 years old. Loved her in that complete, reckless, terrifying way you can only love someone before life teaches you to hold back. They had dated for 2 years in college, 2 years of late nights, shared dreams, laughter that echoed down dorm hallways. She had wanted to build something, a company, a legacy. He had wanted to stay close to home, close to family, close to the land he grew up on. When she left for New York with a startup offer and a packed duffel bag, she said it wasn't about him, that she loved him, that she just couldn't choose between the life she dreamed of and the life that was standing in front of her. He hadn't asked her to choose. That was the part that still stung sometimes, in quiet moments. He married someone else 2 years later, Lily, got divorced, built a small, real, honest life out of the wreckage of what he thought his future would look like. And somehow, Claire Whitman had ended up in room 12 of Maplewood Elementary on a Tuesday night. After the formal presentation, parents broke into small groups with refreshments. Daniel stayed in his chair longer than necessary, watching Lily add elaborate swirls to her drawing. She's really focused. Claire's voice came from just behind his left shoulder. He turned. She was holding 2 paper cups of coffee and offering him one with an expression that was trying very hard to be casual. He took it. She gets that from me, apparently. Her teacher says she tunes out the whole world when she's working on something she cares about. Claire smiled. A real one, not the polished boardroom version. I remember that about you. The words landed quietly between them. You moved back to Maplewood? He asked. No, I'm in Chicago now. But I've been thinking about... She stopped. Started again. The company opened a Midwest branch 6 months ago. I've been driving through here more, visiting my parents. A pause. Remembering things. Daniel looked at her carefully. The Claire he had known at 22 had never been someone who admitted to remembering things. She was always moving forward, eyes on the horizon, bags half packed. You look well, he said, because it was true and because he didn't know what else to say. You look tired, she said, and then winced. Sorry, that came out wrong. I meant you look like someone carrying a lot. I'm raising a kid alone. Comes with the territory. Her mother. Gone, it's fine. We're fine. He looked at Lily, who had moved on from swirls to what appeared to be a detailed drawing of a horse. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. Claire followed his gaze, and something in her expression cracked open just slightly. She's beautiful, Daniel. Yeah, he exhaled slowly. She really is. They talked for 47 minutes. He knew because he checked his watch when Claire first sat down in the empty chair beside him. And he checked it again when Mrs. Hoffman finally arrived, flustered and apologetic, and the room reorganized itself around her entrance. 47 minutes of catching up that felt like no time at all, and somehow also like an entire lifetime compressed into one fluorescent lit classroom. She told him about building the company from a one-room office in Brooklyn. He told her about learning to braid Lily's hair from YouTube tutorials at midnight. She laughed, really laughed, and at that. And it sounded exactly the same as it always had. When the evening ended and parents began filing out, Daniel buckled Lily into her booster seat and walked back toward the entrance to grab the jacket he had left on his chair. Claire was standing near the door, car keys in hand, speaking quietly on her phone. She saw him and held up one finger, 1 second, and finished the call faster than he expected. I wanted to say, she started. You don't have to, he said. I know. She looked at him steadily. I wanted to anyway. She took a breath. I made the right choice for my career. I've never doubted that. But I've wondered sometimes if I made the right choice for me. The parking lot was quiet behind her. The school lights were warm and golden at her back. She looked in that moment less like a CEO and more like the girl who used to steal his hoodie and fall asleep studying on his shoulder. Daniel Mercer was a careful man, a measured man, a man who had learned the hard way not to leap before he looked. He looked at Claire Whitman, standing in the doorway of a school in the town he had never left, and he thought about 47 minutes that had felt like coming home. There's a diner 2 blocks from here, he said. Best pie in Ohio. Lily goes to sleep by 8:30. He paused. I could use a cup of decent coffee and someone who doesn't draw horses on everything. Claire's mouth curved. Slowly. Like she was letting herself feel it. I think I could manage that, she said. And for the first time in 10 years, Daniel Mercer walked into something without looking back. Sometimes life doesn't give you second chances. Sometimes it gives you a Tuesday night in a second-grade classroom, and you have to decide what to do with it.